Imagine this. You're at a mall, enjoying a normal Saturday afternoon, when suddenly you spot a familiar face in the crowd. But there's something about him that stands out. He's wearing a bold red hat that sparks controversy everywhere. The person in that hat? None other than Elon Musk. What happens next? You won't believe it. It was just another ordinary Saturday afternoon at Willow Creek Mall in Seattle. Families strolled by, children tugging at their parents' hands, and the delicious scent of cinnamon and pretzels wafted through the air. Shoppers chatted, their footsteps echoing through the open hallways. Everything seemed typical, routine, until it wasn't. In walked a man, dressed in a bright red jacket, casual jeans, and a MAGA hat perched on his head. Heads turned immediately. At first, it seemed like just another customer. But then, someone muttered, "Wait, is that Elon Musk?" The name rippled through the crowd like wildfire. Phones were raised in unison, people craning their necks, whispering in disbelief. Could it really be him? Why would Elon Musk, one of the wealthiest men in the world, be casually walking through this small, unremarkable mall and wearing that hat? As Elon, or the man who looked startlingly like him, moved through the mall, his presence drew more attention. Some gawked, others approached cautiously, not quite sure if they should ask for a selfie. What was he doing here? Browsing through everyday stores, seemingly oblivious to the commotion he was causing, he didn't flinch as the crowd grew around him. Murmurs filled the air, and the energy shifted from casual shopping to a bubbling sense of curiosity and tension. Meanwhile, up in the management office on the top floor of the mall, Jack Williams, the mall's longtime manager, was blissfully unaware of the storm brewing below. His eyes were glued to paperwork, balancing this month's budgets and planning the mall's upcoming holiday events. Just a normal, uneventful day, he thought, but the peace didn't last. A knock at the door broke his concentration. He looked up to see one of his security officers standing there, their face unusually serious. "Jack," the officer said in a low voice, "you need to come downstairs, now." "What's going on?" Jack asked, standing up, a hint of concern creeping into his voice. "You're not going to believe this," the officer replied. "But we think Elon Musk is in the mall, and he's wearing a MAGA hat. Things are getting weird down there." Jack blinked, certain he hadn't heard correctly. Elon Musk? Here? Why? Jack felt a knot tighten in his stomach. If it really was Musk, or someone impersonating him, things could get out of hand quickly. As he hurried down the stairs, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than just a random celebrity sighting. Something didn't add up. What would happen next? Would the mystery man reveal his true identity? And more importantly, what was he doing at Willow Creek Mall? "Jack, you need to come out here. We've got a situation." Nancy, the security supervisor, whispered, her voice trembling with urgency. "Elon Musk is here, and he's wearing a MAGA hat." For a second, Jack froze. Elon Musk? He blinked, trying to process the bizarre combination of words. MAGA hat? It didn't make sense. This was his mall. He ran a tight ship, neutral ground for everyone, no politics, no drama. But Musk? This was different. "This is a mistake," the mask detector remarked. It had the death script. Stinking leftover tang after Musk. This was different. This is a mistake. The pressure hit Jack instantly, like a wave crashing over him. Sweat began to bead on his forehead. His heart raced and a knot tightened in his gut as the gravity of the situation settled in. He knew one thing for sure. He couldn't ignore this. With a sharp intake of breath, Jack stormed out of his office, the tension in the air thickening as he moved. The mall buzzed with the usual hum of shoppers, But today, something darker brewed. His mind raced with a million thoughts. What the hell was Musk doing here? And in a MAGA hat of all things. As he neared the bookstore, a sight stopped him cold. A crowd had already gathered around Musk. Phones were out, cameras clicking, whispers spreading like wildfire. Elon Musk, tech titan, global icon, was casually flipping through a book on artificial intelligence, seemingly oblivious to the chaos he was causing. The red cap perched on his head blazed like a beacon, drawing more attention than the man himself. Jack's pulse pounded in his ears. He had one unbreakable rule: no political displays in the mall, ever. And here, at the center of it all, was one of the most famous men on the planet breaking that rule in the most public way possible. Jack clenched his jaw. He wasn't about to let his mall become ground zero for a media frenzy or political war zone. He knew what he had to do, but as he took a step closer, the weight of the moment settled in. All eyes would be on him. How he handled this could change everything. Would he dare confront one of the most powerful men in the world? Or was this a disaster waiting to unfold? The seconds ticked by. Jack's palms were sweating, his breath shallow. This was no longer just about enforcing a rule. It was about control, power, and the storm he was about to step into. Excuse me, sir," Jack said, his voice trembling slightly as he took a cautious step forward. His heart pounded in his chest. He had prepared for this moment, but standing face to face with Elon Musk, the world's most unpredictable billionaire, was a different story. This wasn't just any confrontation. He wasn't sure what to expect next. "You'll need to take off that hat or leave them all," Jack continued, trying to sound firm despite the nerves swirling inside him. But the moment his words left his mouth, the atmosphere changed. The usual mall chatter, the soft shuffle of footsteps, all faded into eerie silence. Every eye in the mall was on them now. Phones were already raised, cameras capturing every second, and the air was thick with anticipation. Elon Musk didn't flinch. He simply lowered his sunglasses slowly, revealing those unmistakable piercing blue eyes. It was as if time had stopped. The crowd was so still you could almost hear a pin drop. Jack felt all eyes on him, waiting, wondering. What would he do next? For a split second, Jack hesitated. His mind raced. He wasn't sure if he was in the middle of some elaborate prank or if this was a test. Why was Elon Musk, of all people, here in a mall wearing that controversial hat? What did he want? Why wasn't he reacting like a normal customer? The silence stretched longer than Jack was comfortable with, and then Elon spoke, his voice calm, almost amused. "A neutral environment?" he repeated, as if testing the words, letting them hang in the air. The crowd was hanging on every syllable. What did that even mean? Why did he keep repeating it? Was this a power play, a test of authority, or was Elon Musk simply enjoying this strange, surreal moment? Jack, still trying to find his bearings, took a deep breath. "We have a neutral environment here," he continued, trying to keep his voice steady. "Political attire, well, it can be divisive. We don't want to cause any tension." But was it already too late? Was this mall about to become ground zero for a viral incident? Could he really enforce the rule, especially with Elon Musk, someone with such massive influence, right in front of him? Elon didn't seem bothered. His lips curled into a faint smile, one that didn't quite reach his eyes. The tension in the air was palpable. And then, without missing a beat, he replied, "I'm not taking off this hat." The words hit Jack like a cold wave. The defiance was unmistakable. What now? Jack's eyes flicked around, seeing the crowd grow in size. Phones were being held higher, some recording, some live streaming the moment. This wasn't just about a mall rule anymore. It was becoming something bigger. something unpredictable. Jack stood frozen, unsure of how to proceed. Would the situation escalate? Could he enforce the rules without causing a scene? Or would this moment spiral out of control and become an international headline? Every person in the crowd was on edge, waiting for the next move. What would Jack do? What would Elon do? The world was watching, and in that silence, the stakes felt higher than ever before. The tension in the mall was suffocating. Security guards appeared from the shadows, their presence signaling the imminent escalation. They moved in unison, ready to escort Elon Musk out of the mall with the precision of a well-rehearsed plan. Yet, just as the air seemed to crackle with the promise of confrontation, something completely unexpected happened. Elon Musk, standing amid the murmuring crowd, raised his hand slowly, a quiet command for silence. The murmurs died instantly, as if a switch had been flipped. The bustling mall fell eerily quiet. The security guards froze in place. The crowd, so eager to pull out their phones just moments before, now stood still, transfixed by the calm authority radiating from Musk. "Do you know why I'm here?" Elon's voice broke through the silence, the question hanging in the air like a challenge, a riddle no one had the answer to. The mall seemed to hold its breath, waiting for something to unfold, something that felt far more important than a simple political statement. The question, simple yet profound, pierced through the fog of uncertainty that had settled over the crowd. What did Elon Musk have to say? Why had he come here in the first place? Jack, standing at the periphery of the crowd, felt a chill run through him. His mind raced, trying to grasp what this was all about. This wasn't just about a MAGA hat. This was something bigger, something deeper. His chest tightened, a wave of uncertainty flooding his thoughts. What had seemed like a simple disruption was now a mystery that demanded to be solved. As the seconds dragged on, Elon's calm demeanor only intensified the unease. He didn't rush to explain himself. Instead, he simply let the question hang there, as if daring the crowd to figure it out on their own. He looked down at the pocket of his jacket, and with a deliberate, almost theatrical gesture, he pulled out a single, folded piece of paper. The crowd, which had been poised for a contrafaction, now leaned in as if drawn by an invisible force. Every eye locked onto the small piece of paper, every ear straining to hear what would come next. The silence was thick, heavy, as though the entire mall was waiting for the unraveling of a mystery too big to ignore. "This," Elon said, holding up the letter for all to see, "is why I'm here." The crowd gasped, an almost imperceptible collective shudder running through them. What could possibly be on that paper? What was so important that it could change everything? Jack's pulse quickened, his thoughts scrambled. What's in that letter? His mind ran wild with possibilities. Was it a legal document? A secret plan? An announcement that would change the course of history? For a brief moment, it seemed as if time itself had stopped. The tension was unbearable. No one moved. No one breathed. Everyone, including Jack, was caught in the gravity of the moment, hanging on the edge of a revelation they couldn't yet comprehend. Elon stood, calm and unshaken, letting the letter dangle in the air like the sword of Damocles, poised to fall and alter the course of their lives forever. Jack, his heart racing, had no idea what would happen next, but he knew one thing for sure: the world would never be the same after this moment. Would the contents of the letter shatter the silence and make everything clear? Or would it leave them with more questions than answers, trapping them in a web of confusion and intrigue? As Jack stood frozen, the seconds stretched into eternity. Whatever happened next, it was clear that this moment was just the beginning of something far bigger than any of them could imagine. The crowd leaned in, cameras zoomed closer, and every eye was fixed on Elon Musk as he unfolded the letter. The soft murmur of the crowd faded into a tense silence. What could possibly be in that letter? Why had Elon Musk, of all people, decided to read it out loud? Phones raised higher, capturing every moment of this strange and unexpected turn of events. Something big was about to happen, but what? As Elon began reading, the room seemed to hold its breath. "This letter is from a young woman named Emily who works at the food court here at Willow Creek Mall," he said, his voice clear and steady. The crowd shifted, whispering among themselves. Who was Emily? What could her letter possibly have to do with Elon Musk? Elon continued, revealing that Emily had written about her family struggles, medical bills piling up, dreams of attending college, but no clear path to afford it. The crowd seemed to hang on his every word, but there was a strange tension in the air. Why did she write to Elon Musk of all people? Was this just a cry for help? Or was there more to the story? The twist came next. "But here's the twist," Elon said, his voice calm but filled with gravity. The room, if possible, became even quieter. What was the twist? Everyone was leaning in, waiting for the next revelation. "Emily never asked for money," he continued, letting the words sink in. "She asked for advice." A ripple of confusion ran through the crowd. No money? Was this some kind of trick? Elon Musk, one of the richest men in the world, being asked for advice instead of a handout? The crowd's murmurs grew, but Elon wasn't finished. And then Emily, standing on the edge of the crowd, realized that her life was about to change forever. She had no idea how her letter would make its way into Elon's hands, let alone why he was standing in front of everyone, holding it up. But here she was, about to become the center of a story that would go viral in an instant. Trembling, Emily stepped forward, her heart racing. Could she even believe this was happening? Would Elon's gesture be exactly what she needed? Or would it all turn out to be something else entirely? The cameras were rolling, the world watching. She could feel the eyes of hundreds on her. And then Elon did something no one expected. He extended his hand toward her, holding an envelope. The moment felt like it stretched forever. What was inside that envelope? Was it really the help she had always dreamed of? Or was it something else? Something that would change the course of her future in ways she couldn't even imagine? Emily took the envelope, her hands shaking as she opened it. The crowd waited, holding their breath. And when she saw what was inside, her eyes went wide. $50,000. The crowd erupted, but Emily stood frozen, unable to comprehend what had just happened. The amount was more than enough to cover her college tuition and provide for her future. But could this truly be real? And then came the ultimate question. What would Emily do with this unexpected windfall? Would she seize the opportunity and chase her dreams? Or was this act of kindness only the beginning of something much larger? Something that would change her life, and perhaps even the course of history. The applause was deafening, but for Emily, the world had gone silent and everything had shifted. As she held the check to her chest, still in disbelief, the journey ahead was just beginning, and no one knew exactly where it would lead. The crowd erupted into applause, the sound of clapping filling the air as if the entire mall had suddenly come alive. The echoes bounced off the walls, a dramatic contrast to the tense silence that had enveloped the scene moments before. Jack stood frozen, his breath caught in his throat. What had started as a confrontation over something as simple, as seemingly trivial as a MAGA hat, had now turned into something far more profound. But what exactly had just happened? Jack's chest tightened. The applause was deafening, but it wasn't for the reason he thought. They weren't applauding the hat or even the political statement. It was something much deeper, something more unexpected. What did they see that I didn't? In that moment, Jack realized the truth that had eluded him in his rigid pursuit of rules and order. This wasn't about following rules, it was about understanding humanity in its rawest form. The crowd's reaction, it wasn't just applause, it was a revelation. They weren't clapping for Elon Musk, they were clapping for something far more significant, for breaking barriers, for shifting perspectives, for seeing beyond the surface. As the realization slowly seeped into his mind, Jack understood that what he had thought was a confrontation was in fact a lesson in empathy and perception. He had seen a man in a hat, but what the crowd saw was someone challenging the notion that appearances define a person. Had he misjudged everything? Was there more to this situation than he could have ever imagined? Elon, with his calm demeanor and quiet presence, had left a mark on the entire mall, and now, as he turned to leave, just as quietly as he arrived, the weight of the moment began to sink in. What had truly just happened? What was the story behind the small, folded letter he had revealed? And why had that single action brought about such a dramatic shift in the atmosphere? Jack couldn't help but feel as though he was missing something crucial, something he could never fully understand, no matter how much he tried. As Elon Musk exited the mall, his departure was almost ghostly in its subtlety. He didn't speak another word, nor did he need to. He had said all he needed to with a single, calculated gesture. The question lingered. Was this a lesson in humility for Jack? Or was it a deeper call to the world to look beyond labels, beyond surface judgments, and truly see people? The applause eventually faded, but its impact didn't. It wasn't just a moment of public praise, it was a signal, a wake-up call to everyone present. As the mall returned to its usual rhythm, Jack stood still, his heart pounding. What had he truly learned here? Could something so small, so seemingly insignificant, change the way he viewed the world? And what if this was only the beginning of a much larger conversation? As Jack watched the crowd disperse, a profound truth settled in his chest. What we see on the surface is rarely the full story. And sometimes, a single act of kindness can be the spark that changes everything. The lesson Elon had left behind wasn't one of politics or conflict, it was about humanity. And as Jack stood there, lost in the quiet aftermath, he realized he would never look at people or life the same way again. But the question still lingered. What was in that letter? Was it more than just a piece of paper? Was it a symbol of something far bigger, something Jack was only beginning to grasp? The story wasn't over. In fact, it was only just beginning. What do you think of Elon's unexpected act of kindness? Do you think you'd have made the same choice in his shoes? Drop your thoughts below, we'd love to hear from you. If you're hungry for more powerful stories that make you think, hit that subscribe button and join the Williams Wisdom Stories community. After all, sometimes the most unexpected moments are the ones that change everything. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next chapter.